Welcome to another edition of 42 Straight Years In. On my crackhead update, I walked this morning with my old lady over to the tennis court. It's sunny in Dallas, but the wind is blowing hard as hell outside. Man, it's blowing. The wind is blowing. And they still gonna get their tennis match in because she can't go to the gym. That's her workout now. She do her workout and then she go play tennis or vice versa. And I've talks about this lady who lives at the bus stop across the street. Well, anyway, she seen me and her walking. She approached, she said, "Oh, you swirling, huh?" So we don't say nothing, we keep walking. So she following us. And she talking all type of crap, start cursing me out. And getting racial with my old lady. So my old lady turned around and wanted to beat her up. I know that'd be a total mismatch. This lady been on drugs. She not in physical shape. My old lady know how to fight. She practice Muay Thai. She love to practice on a human instead of kicking and hitting that bag all the time and sparring with her trainer. So I wouldn't let her fight. And my old lady turned to get on her ass, and she started talking about calling the police. I thought people wanted the police defunded. This lady talking about calling the cops. So we didn't need to get the police involved. So I talked my old lady into leaving her alone, and she went on over to the tennis court. I stood and watched her 15 to 20 minutes play tennis, and I walked back across the street. This time she didn't say anything. That's my crackhead update. Y'all know what it is. Get your shanks out. And let's get ready to ride. I had a subscriber ask me about introducing the new people to my channel, the new subs, to Old Lord in case they haven't viewed any of my older videos. Now, I didn't want to receive a strike, but I hate to do a watered down version. I like to keep everything in context. Well, anyway, we're at the Ramsey unit, and it's during Christmas holidays. So Wildcat had gave us a couple of days off of work right before Christmas, and they had a talent show in the gymnasium. So all of us in the gymnasium, a lot of guys got their homemade wine, which we call chalk, CHOKE. And guys sitting in there drinking, looking at the bands, jamming. And then you got some guys that's comedians. And even Wildcat got up and got on the PA system and wished all of us a happy holiday. Also, he said he wished that we could be with our families. But we got to serve our time in order to be released. So, they had different type of bands. They had an R&B band, a Tejano band, a country band, country and western band, a rock and roll band, a jazz band. Had a lot of musicians. For every genre, they had it. And a country and western band was performing. And they started singing. Some of the people who listen to country music might remember this song, "I'm Not Working Here No More." So they started singing that. Old Lord sitting up in there with him a pitcher full of inmate made wine. You can't regulate the alcohol content. It depends on how long you let it ferment, what type of ingredients you use. But you can't regulate the alcohol content. Some of it be potent as hell. He's sitting there drinking it. So he's semi-drunk and they keep singing, "I ain't working here no more." Old Lord jumped up. He said, "You telling the damn lie. You gonna work. Everybody gonna work. I'll take y'all to work right now." What? See, and now this Christmas holiday, the warden done said we not going to work. This man is absolutely crazy. He couldn't stand hearing no inmates say they not going to work. He couldn't handle it. But he's in the building. He's not on his horse, and he ain't got his guns. So his words don't have that much effect on inmates. Because they scared of that 45 and that 12 gauge. They really ain't worried about him. This is an old ass man. Nobody's worried about him. Every convict in that gymnasium probably could beat the brakes off him if they chose to. But he went so crazy, even Wildcats started laughing at him. I mean, this man went off in that gymnasium. People that doing the riots in D.C., I had one subscriber say those people are receiving misdemeanors. I checked on a lot of them. Those are felonies they are receiving. If you breaking into the White House, I guarantee you that's not going to be a misdemeanor. I don't know. I ain't researched the federal statute, but I looked at some of the crimes they were charging them with. I looked them up real fast on the federal code. Those people are receiving felonies. They wouldn't go all out of their way to be arresting you for no misdemeanor. You wouldn't be losing your job for a misdemeanor. But be that as it may, I'm going to move along to something else. They got to take their licks. One of the main things about being in prison is how to make it in a prison is to, like a warden told me my first day in prison. He said, whatever the convicts do, that's what you do. And that turned out to be a correct assessment of inmate life. One of the main things is not being afraid. Everybody won't have a bad stay in prison. It depends on your length of sentence. Now, they got so many prisons they can send you to. Now, if you house at a prison, one of the maximum security prisons, it's a few of them that's laid back. The ones that house a lot of old guys, those going to be the laid back prisons. They don't check you when you come in. They don't do none of that. They let you wreck yourself later on. Whatever you made out of, eventually it'll come to the surface. If you engaged in dealing with the gays, dealing in contraband, you get into it with gang members, it's all going to come to the surface what you made out of, how you handle yourself. And that's what they're going to judge you on. But, they got a lot of medium prisons where it's not so violent as the maximum security prisons. And they might sign you to that prison. You won't have that many problems. Only thing difference is a medium prison are more stricter than the maximum security prisons. In Texas they are. The way those guards handle those inmates at a medium prison, that wouldn't even fly at a maximum prison. The inmates there are way more aggressive. Way more aggressive. Because a lot of guys there don't have anything to lose. You serving a life sentence, and it depends on how much time you build up on your sentence, you ain't got really nothing to lose. You got a life sentence where you got to serve 40 years to be eligible for parole. What are you afraid of disciplinary for? You should have been afraid of committing that crime, and you wouldn't be in that predicament. Young guys now are just throwing their life away. They don't even try to remain free. When they finally figure it out, it's basically too late. You done got a 50-year sentence, it's basically too late. Come up with all these philosophies in life, what you should have did, could have did, and would have did. Your life is basically over with. So you're going to serve a long term in prison before a parole board release you, or they will make you do every day of that sentence. You cannot predict what a parole board will do. Even though I've been in for a parole board over 20 times, I cannot tell you the theory or whatever information they consider in releasing you. I've seen the guys with Molly inmates don't make parole because they got a favorite catch-22. Nature and seriousness of offense, which will never change until you die. You still gonna have that nature and seriousness of offense. It's never gonna change. And that's one of their favorite reasons for denying parole. You done committed a violent offense, they care less about your disciplinary record in a prison. Because you got to have a good disciplinary record to be eligible for parole. That means you've been out of trouble at least 6 months in order to make parole. Now, occasionally, they bring up disciplinary at a parole hearing as a reason for denying you parole. I've got a couple of those. But normally, all my reasons for denial of parole were based on nature and seriousness of offense, which I have anything to do with. I can't change that. The shit doesn't happen. What am I gonna do? You know, I've seen parole make grown men cry. To me, that was my worst day in prison, is seeing the parole officer. Man, I hated that, man. You got to be on your best behavior. You can't get mad at the question they ask you. You can't show no attitude. You got to be clean shaven, well groomed. And a lot of young guys go in there sagging their pants, and he think he's gonna make parole. Go in there slouching all down in the chair like he's sitting at home on the sofa. You ain't gonna make no parole, because they writing that down on a report. And that's what the board member's gonna look at. Whatever that parole officer write down, that's what they gonna view. So you want a good report. I could not tell a person what he got to do to make parole. All I can tell him is, hey man, you got to be eligible. That's all I can tell him. I've seen a lot of guys. I had a cell partner named Ralph Gilmore. This man, that was his second time in prison. He had been locked up over 20 years. And he only had one minor disciplinary case. A minor. And he never make parole. And he's a model inmate. I put it like this. He just didn't get caught up. He loved to gamble, but he didn't get caught up. He never get work-related disciplinary or fighting. Occasionally he'd have a fight. Sometimes you can't avoid it. Sometimes you can. You know, but in my later years in prison, I basically stopped dealing with the inmates. Only way I would deal with you a guy who I knew from back in the day. I knew you very well. If I didn't have no dealing with you. Now, if you come up and talk to me, sure, I'll respond, but I never would initiate no conversation. Me and those guys are not compatible. We wear the same prison whites, but I've served different time than they have served, come from a different system, and also it keep me from knocking one of them head off. Because they have a tendency to underestimate people. Now, if you got a bad prison record, those guys gonna know about it. And they're going to kind of avoid you like the plague. Anytime they see a guy dealing with you, they're going to give him a heads up. Hey, man, you better leave that old timer there alone, man. I hate to see you get your ass killed. You know, because a lot of the old guys, young guys look at him and say, this guy, he's not in shape. These guys work out all the time. They boxing all the time. They don't see you doing any of that. So they look at you as not being a guy in physical shape. If they prolong the fight, you're almost going to lose if you're not in shape, because you're going to get too tired. You're going to lose. But some of the old guys play by different rules. They say, okay, I can't win with my hands. I can win with a piece of steel. I bet you that. The bottom line is not to take a loss. So I will leave those guys alone. I had money. I know how to get my own contraband in, nothing I needed them for. And I've said this before, I always kept me a good prison job, because I like to deal with the female guards. In order to deal with the female guards, you need a good prison assignment, where you can get the female one-on-one without all them other convicts being around. And all you got to do is keep your business to yourself. Never, ever tell them guys your business, because they want a woman just like you want one. And it's sad to say, most of them are straight haters. They are haters. And guys always ask me about gang members. You know, my perspective on time is totally different. I stood on my own 2 feet. Sure, I had a lot of guys out of Dallas I'm cool with, homeboys I'm cool with. If I was going to be Rat Pack, I got instant help. I didn't need no gang. Didn't need one at all. I didn't see no purpose they serve whatsoever. Only thing they serve is self-gratification. When they get their contraband in, they're going to spread it out among their members. And also, I don't see them do nothing that can benefit the prison population. I don't see nothing they do. You know, several times under the old system, we've had work stoppages, and we don't know what Wildcat was gonna do. We don't know what old Lord was gonna do, but we still was bucking. These guys ain't gonna buck nothing. Oh, they would jump some poor old guy who ain't got no homeboys. He's not a non-gang member. They'll beat the brakes off of him or kill him if they got to. But they do nothing against the system that can benefit the rest of the inmates. They gotta suffer, eat the same food everyone else eat. They don't get no better treatment because you remember this so-called prison gang. You still gonna be in a hot cell in the summertime. You're gonna be in a cold cell during the wintertime. So the warden can care less about your gang. He don't even care. If he find out, you'll be placed in a mental segregation with the rest of your homeboys. That's where you'll do the rest of your time at. And also, if you're on gang file, they don't even allow you to use the telephone. They got a prison telephone system. You're not even allowed to use it. Guys in ad seg, they don't use the telephone at all. And death row. People be asking me about death row. When I was at the Felony unit, I worked back there. Man, those guys are not sociable. Some of them are not. They got bad attitudes. That's to be expected. They got the death penalty. So I never go and try to make friends with those guys. That's why people ask me in the comment section, do I know certain guys? I might have seen this guy, but I don't know him. He's not in the general population where I get to sit down or see him talk to other guys, overhear his conversation, or see how he functions in the general population. He's on death row. Now, a lot of them get along with each other. I've heard them talking to each other and shooting the shit with each other. Some occasion they would say something to me. Mainly, they want to know what's going on. A lot of those guys are first offenders. They've never been in a prison before. So they don't know what general population is like. Majority of people on death row are first offenders. When he committed his violent crime, he received the death penalty. He's never been in the general population. They would ask me about different things, what they got for chow, or can I tell them to put some more food on their tray, or new item in the commissary, or like they don't have TVs back on death row now. They took the TVs away from them. They'll ask me something about a football game. They have to initiate the conversation with me. I never start a conversation with those guys. Never, ever do I start a conversation. Like I said, a lot of them got bad attitudes. Very bad attitudes. So to keep me from skinning him up when he come out of that cell and get me in a wreck, I just leave him alone. I'll go back there and clean up, do what I'm supposed to do, and get off that cell block. Now, there was a couple of them that I made money off of. Hey, you want to take a cell phone over to another part? As long as he paying, I'll take it. Now, it depends on what guard is supervising me. Some of the guards don't want you standing in front of those guys' cell talking. It depends on what guard is working inside of the picket. If I stay in front of a cell for any length of time, sometimes they'll flash the light. That means move around. These guys weren't worth me losing my little privileges for, because I only got to be back there for 8 hours and I'm out of there. I'm going to leave you with, y'all follow me over on Patreon. The link will be in the description. I really can't do an old Lord over here because I don't want to see for strike. I've got too many already. Life is unfair. So you find the unfair advantage. Ain't nobody said it was going to be fair. We always going to be even because we are not. I don't care how you cut it and dice it, we are not even. We don't have a level playing field. You got to make the playing field level. It's all up to you. Y'all like and subscribe and hit that like button. I need my likes smashed up. Smash that like button. And I thank y'all for watching.